up everybody? I hope you're having a great day, not just a good day. I'm so excited to be back with another DCC video. I hope you're well, I hope you're absolutely thriving, and I am so sorry that this has been a little bit delayed. I've been sick throughout the week, but I'm filming a ton of videos today, so it will be back to regular programming. I know I usually release like early on the weekends, like maybe like a Friday. This one is going out literally the night I film it. Plus, I'm going to give you an extra one because I've been a little bit delayed. But like I said, today I have the day off work and I'm literally just filming DCC videos. Hey guys, super quick disclaimer. This video and another one that I'm doing as well, it's not audio issues. I just didn't have the microphone plugged in properly, which is obviously super fun. It was plugged into the wrong hole on my camera. I'm still getting used to these microphones. I was listening back and I was like, damn, it sounds really echoey in my house. Like I'm recording, but it's like there's a space. Anyway, the audio is totally fine. It just sounds, a little bit echoey. It's totally fine. But moving forward, I will rectify this. So please don't stress going forward. Again, I'm trying to make my videos as best as possible I can for you. So sorry in advance for this one and another one. If you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Charlotte Scott. I am from Australia and I cover a range of things on my YouTube channel, from deep dives, influencer drama, internet drama, scammers, and everything DCC, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. This video has been requested multiple times through my request form. You can find that in the description below, and make sure you go check that out. Write whatever you want in there, put in any suggestions you want for videos. You can remain completely anonymous if you want. Also, I just want to point out, my legs look so, like, I'm already very pale as it is, but this lighting is making my legs look almost translucent white. I can see like how bright they are in my like viewfinder. This is like not fun for me. It's so white and bright. While you're down in the description though, make sure you give me a follow on Instagram and TikTok. They're the exact same username. Charlotte Scott with an extra T on the end and an underscore. Send me a message, let's be friends. I literally read every single message you guys send me in my Instagram DMs, and I love talking to you guys about DCC. If you guys are watching this in real time, like when I upload, I have a quick update about training camp. Emily Rice has been released from training camp. She's the very first cut that has been made. No more cuts have been so far. They just had the rookie makeovers as well at the Tangerine Salon. And also Charlotte Tilbury herself showed up, which is really cool. Obviously they are a massive sponsor of the DCC, but to have the creator and founder and such an amazing makeup artist like Charlotte Tilbury show up is really cool. Somebody asked me to do a video on what my predictions are. I don't think I can like film a very long video on that, but I just want to say, for Point of the Triangle, I think Megan is a very, very good shot. We also have 6 fifth-year veterans returning this year, which is massive. We usually get about 2 or 3. And there are 4 groups, obviously, so 4 first group leaders. My picks for group leaders, I think, will be Klein, Tori, Megan, and Leah. My prediction so far, if that changes, I will let you know. Or if I have any other training camp updates, I will let you guys know as well in my upcoming videos. Now, today is a massive one. Like I said, it has been highly requested in my request form, and this is about previous DCC scandals. And I just want to preface this video by saying this is for entertainment purposes only. These are not my views or opinions. These are what has been gathered online and what has been made public by DCC in the past. Now, the first one we're going to talk about is probably the biggest one that we've had in DCC, especially because it was publicized on Making the Team, and that is the fraternization that happened with Holly and Jenna. Now, this situation with Holly and Jenna was something we had never seen before on DCC Making the Team, and we got a really good in-depth look, and I don't think it's anything we've seen publicly from the DCC history even before Making the Team. Now, Holly was going into her 3rd year as a DCC. She was a fan favorite, and she was also a very dynamic dancer from day one. And then you have Jenna. She was an absolute pocket rocket dancer. She was great. She was going into her 6th year as a DCC, and as we know, it's very, very rare for someone to go in as a 6th year. During training camp, she was selected as a group leader and also the point of a triangle, which is massive. That is a huge achievement. Now, we saw what we saw on DCC Making the Team and everything, but the rumors outside of that and what wasn't shown chop and change a lot. So it sounds like Holly was either dating, sleeping with, or even a groupie of Ezekiel Elliott. who was a massive player for the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said, he was a big name player, and a lot of the rumors were going around was that he actually brought her diamond earrings. Jenna was apparently seeing Dak Prescott. If you guys know anything about the NFL, Dak Prescott is the quarterback. He is like the #1 man for the Cowboys. But word on the street is they kept it extremely low-key, extremely on the down low, so no one found out. Well, obviously we found out now, but this is like back then. Apparently it was like, yeah, no one at all knew. As in publicly, they would never ever seen together, and when they were around each other for work events, they did not talk at all. Like, they literally acted like they didn't know each other. Jenna and Holly would frequent clubs and bars that the Dallas Cowboys were often seen at, and this is pretty much what led to their downfall. Just to recap what happened on making the team, Kelly pulled Holly and Jenna into the office separately. Kelly pulled Jenna into the office first and pretty much said she was concerned about her leadership, especially around the no fraternization policy. It is spoken about extensively within the DCC world. It's pretty much one of their most strict rules that you cannot fraternize with players. That includes seeing players, dating players, hooking up with players. The only time you should be talking to players is in a professional work environment. The cheerleaders and the Cowboys players don't really hang out too much in a professional setting. It's more so when they go to things like children's hospital visits, but again, completely professional environment. Jenna explains to Kelly and Judy that Holly is obviously very young, she doesn't always make the best decisions, and that Jenna can only influence her so much. Kelly and Judy weren't happy with that answer, and they told Jenna they were extremely disappointed in her not bringing it to their attention and making them aware of the situation. Jenna was told she'd be pulled from the Canton, Ohio Hall of Fame trip that was coming up, and she said she was very upset that they were put in the position where they had to question her leadership. Straight after Jenna's office visit, they bring in Holly and say, "What don't you understand about our no fraternization with players policy?" Holly gets defensive pretty much straight away and says, "Oh no, I understand it. I don't talk to players. I don't." Judy and Kelly give her a look like, "Girl, we know you were breaking this rule and this policy." And Holly says, "No, I don't. I understand that rule and I believe I do uphold it." Kelly said that there have been repeated reports about this, and even the locker room talks about it. And when I say locker room, I feel like she means the Cowboys locker room and not the cheerleaders locker room. Holly's face absolutely switches then, and she says, "I don't know what to say." You can tell in her face that she was caught out and she doesn't know how to kind of back this up. She says she still doesn't feel like she's broken the rule because she's not seeing, dating, or even talking to any players currently. She admits she'd been to a bunch of clubs that Kelly had listed, but she didn't go there with any players. Kelly says to Holly that she has lost her trust and she will also be pulled from the Canton, Ohio Hall of Fame trip just like Jenna was. Holly handed in her resignation the next day, which came as a shock because if you look at her office visit, she was crying a lot, saying how much she loves the team and how much she would do anything to stay on the team. Jenna also had her point of the triangle position taken away from her, and she was extremely upset about this. She didn't realize it was just for Canton. It turned out to be the entire season. Whilst away on the Canton, Ohio trip, she sends a message to another staff member and asks if this is going to be permanent. Judy and Kelly pull her into the office and say they were really not happy about how selfish she was acting about the point of the triangle position. Kashera was replaced as the point of the triangle that season, and honestly, I think that should have been the decision from the start. Kashera was an amazing dancer. She was a great showman, a great leader in general. Even for a third-year veteran, I feel like that really speaks volume. Holly was on track to be probably the best dancer out of her entire rookie class. She could have achieved so much at DCC. And it's just really sad that she kind of threw all that away for a fling with a football player. And obviously they are not together anymore. I'm pretty sure Holly is still dancing though, just casually, and she's working as a realtor. Next up we have blackface. In the year 2009. Wild, I know. Trigger warning, I will be showing images of a white person in blackface, so just heads up about that. Now, Whitney was a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys, and in 2009 she went to a Halloween party dressed up as rapper Lil Wayne. And when I say dress up, yes, I mean complete blackface as well. These photos were uploaded to Facebook that she was tagged in, and she was posing in every single photo. It really seemed like she did not have an issue with this at all at the time, until she got called out on it. The media picked it up pretty much straight away, and she was photographed on the sidelines the next day at the game because it was a person that was public facing doing blackface. Kelly did a social media presentation the following year in training camp, and this was brought up and talked about on Making the Team. And it's wild to think, yeah, back then they had to do like very vigorous social media presentations because the whole world of social media was so new. Now, whilst this next one was in 2018, it's still very relevant today because it brings up the issue of the DCC pay. In 2018, a former DCC cheerleader, Erica Wilkins, filed a federal lawsuit against the Cowboys. She had alleged that the team violated labor laws, saying that they were getting paid below minimum wages for being a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. And she eventually reached an unknown settlement with the Dallas Cowboys. And whilst the 400% pay rise that recently happened in this season 2 of America's Sweetheart is a massive talking point at the moment, we should not forget that Erica paved the way only a few years ago to make this happen. She went out and did this all by herself, and she got a lot of flack from former DCC, including Cassie Trammell. Next up, I'm going to touch briefly on nepotism. Again, I say briefly because I will do a whole video on nepotism, going into the deep dives of it, coming up in a few weeks. Now, nepotism is everywhere in the world, but I think dance is a little bit more hard because dance is so opinion-based sometimes. And a lot of people believe that Judy Trammell's daughter Cassie shouldn't have made it back for her final year because she was injured. These rules probably wouldn't have been in place for someone trying out that was brand new or even an early veteran. There was a lot of talk that she created a very toxic mean girl environment in DCC. We do see that come out a tiny bit on Making the Team as well, but like I said, I'm going to go into a lot more nepotism in a future video that will just be about nepotism. But it was very interesting that a lot of judges said they don't think Cassie should have come back as an injury was holding her back, but ultimately Judy, Charlotte and Kelly let her go through to her final year. Next up, we have the COVID bubble training camp. Now, this isn't really a scandal as per se, but just a lot of drama that happened in this season. Now, this training camp was very, very short because they were in a bubble. I believe it went for 2 to 3 weeks in total, when a regular training camp went for an entire summer. It was an extremely rare situation that they cut 4 veterans in training camp. 3 were on the very last night of training camp as well. And a lot of these girls weren't the greatest dancers, but they were locker room favorites and they had a great camaraderie with the entire team. Now, I remember watching this in real time as it aired, and oh my god, the forums were going insane. The fact that they cut 3 veterans on the last night of training camp, like, it was like you walked into a room on fire. It was insane. Now, Meredith was cut early in this training camp. And again, it's so rare to see a veteran cut in training camp in the middle of training camp because she is dancing poorly. But I really think they just set her up to fail because I don't think she should have made the team in the first place. They really pushed her so hard to make the team in the previous season. They really held her hand and spoon-fed her through the entire process. As Kelly said very early on, she has a girl crush on Meredith, and that definitely showed. Whilst you have Lily, and Lily was an amazing dancer, she was just obviously very nervous and she got in her head a lot of the time, especially after her very traumatic exit the first time she tried out. She got cut on the very last night of training camp and she did not have an office visit prior. She was not called in to get her technique fixed up. She was not given any kind of direction on how she was going, but she was cut on the last night with absolutely no prior opportunity to fix any issues. The following year, in the COVID bubble year, she seemed to be doing absolutely fine. She did get in her head a little bit towards the end of training, but obviously who wouldn't after she was cut so dramatically last time? She was the first veteran cut on the last night of training camp, and it was a very uncomfortable watch. She asked them if there was anything that she could do to change their minds, and they said not really, and she said, well, I had to ask because my teammates told me not to give in without a fight. Again, she was very much a locker room favorite, which is really heartbreaking. Now, Brennan was next, and Brennan wasn't the strongest dancer. She had tried out so many times. She had made it into training camp multiple times, but she did have a strong couple of years on the team. She told Kelly and Judy she already knew that Lily was cut, so we knew that the words were spreading fast throughout the hotel within the team. One thing that was massive and people still talk about today was Brennan said she didn't like the direction in what the team was going, and that pretty much was left up to interpretation. It could be the Mean Girls, it could be bringing in kind of influencer dancers and not standing by veterans. Even though they might not be the strongest dancers, there was still a lot of love in the room and camaraderie. What I would give to watch the unedited version of these kind of cuts would be insane. It really sucks for Brennan because she revealed to Kelly and Judy prior to this that she had gotten COVID twice, and this was before the vaccine. It really wore down her body a lot. She was very tired. She couldn't even walk far distances. But again, I remember I got COVID once like everything opened back up. I was vaccinated and it felt like hell. So I could not even imagine what it would feel like getting COVID without the vaccine. Obviously a lot of people died, but just to be so worn down from that is horrible. Now, Hannah was the last cut of the night, and whilst the other two looked and sounded defeated when they were getting cut, Hannah really kept her cool and kept very, I guess, monotone and poker face with all of this. She did talk to Kelly and Judy prior to this about how COVID and being in lockdown affected her mental health a lot, and she has a history of depression she has talked about in the past on the show. So the lack of understanding and support was really disheartening to see from Hannah and the rest of the team. Especially when I feel like these three girls, Brennan, Lily, and Hannah, were very loyal to the organisation. Now, another small drama scandal that I want to cover that wasn't on Making the Team but happened during Making the Team was Amanda's exit. A lot of people do talk about this, but Amanda was a great dancer. She came straight into the team. She was a dancer in LA and an actress. She made show group her first year, and if that goes by anything, that just shows how much of an amazing dancer she was. After the training camp bubble of the COVID season happened, dancers returned the following year, and whilst COVID wasn't gone, there were still some big restrictions in place, and one was the mandatory COVID vaccination. When I say mandatory, I mean a lot of workplaces would not let you work unless you had the vaccination. This rule was also put in place for the Dallas Cowboys employees. That included cheerleaders. It wasn't brought to the cheerleaders' attention until very early into training camp. You do see Amanda doing her solo, but ultimately she quit the team because she refused to get the vaccine. They do try and edit her out as much as possible, but you can see multiple times she's in the background. Again, this is really sad because Amanda was such a great and dynamic dancer, and I'm not going to get political here, but for her to quit the team, quit such an amazing opportunity because she refused to get the vaccine, really sucks. Obviously up to her, but again, everybody else got it. I just wish she had gotten it and continued on with the team. Now, my next and last one is a pretty big one that is not talked about as often as it should, and it only happened 10 years ago. So at an event held at AT&T Stadium back in 2015, there were 4 cheerleaders attending and working this event. Whilst they were getting undressed and dressed into their uniform, a very executive senior member of the Dallas Cowboys entered the change rooms and started filming them without their knowledge. He was being very sneaky about it, but obviously not sneaky enough because he was detected and caught, and the 4 cheerleaders working the event ended up confronting HR and the legal side of the Cowboys and discussing this. They ended up settling an out-of-court dispute for $2.4 million for the 4 cheerleaders. Obviously, this is an extremely unsafe situation, and no one should be filmed ever getting undressed or dressed. And the fact that it was a senior executive member of the same organization they were in is incredibly disgusting. These girls should be protected at all costs, especially in such a vulnerable position. Again, this was never talked about on Making the Team. It brings a very bad light to the Cowboys, but there are multiple reports that this has happened, including news articles. I can link them below for you guys if you want. But the 4 cheerleaders must have signed an NDA because it was obviously never talked about. It was said that the senior executive gained access to the back door of the locker room using their security pass, and that he was standing behind a partial wall with his iPhone kind of peeking out the side trying to film them. What is even more wild in this situation is apparently this guy also took an upskirt photo of Charlotte Jones in the past. And I don't know how Jerry Jones didn't fire him on the spot. That is literally his own daughter. This guy's obviously sick in the head, and I hope that he's never around women in the workplace ever again. But I do want to say that this guy has come out and made a statement saying the allegations are false. But again, the Cowboys have settled and, like I said, paid the cheerleaders $2.4 million for this. Such a rich history. Obviously the Cowboys Cheerleaders go back almost 60 years, a lot of highs and a lot of lows and a lot of scandals in between. If there are any scandals I missed or anything else you want me to elaborate on, please comment below. But like I said, I have a ton of videos coming out soon, one on nepotism as well within the Cowboys Cheerleaders. As always, I appreciate your support so much. If you've gotten this far in the video, make sure you give it a like, make sure you comment your thoughts below, and as always, I love to know what you're doing when you guys watch my videos, so comment below, tell me what you're doing right now. A lot of people, someone said the other day they were breastfeeding, someone said they were watching this while they're at work, and I really hope you don't get in trouble. Someone said they were brushing their dog in the backyard, which I thought was so funny. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well so you never miss another video from me, and make sure you hit that bell notification. I have, I think, like 4 or 5 DCC videos in the works as we speak, and I have another one coming out in a couple of days, so again, make sure you tune in for that. Thank y'all, I appreciate y'all so much, and I hope you have a great day, not just a good day. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!